Hello there, and welcome to Andre's YouTube vlog for Tuesday, September 25th, 2012. And I wanted to discuss something with you that I actually may have mentioned in an earlier YouTube vlog that I made. Over the past year and a half or so, I've had a great deal of trouble trying to figure out what it is that makes videos popular or unpopular on YouTube and what gets them a lot of viewers. And I've been looking up a great deal of video information on the given subject. And one of the videos I saw lately had a lot of great advice in it. It specifies specifically optimizing your videos, and that meant giving specific directions on what your video is about, such as how to, or what the subject is in general, and also advise you to place a website into your comment area in order to get attention. Now, that's pretty good sense thinking, at least as far as I'm concerned. So I did that, and I noticed that a lot of my YouTube videos still weren't getting views. I got a little upset about that. I thought maybe my subjects aren't that interesting. Maybe people just don't want to see it. I started feeling bad about myself. And then I came to two important conclusions. One, that it's very likely that there are hundreds of people on YouTube who are feeling the exact same way. They copy what they see on other YouTube videos to try to get hits, and as it were, or try to get viewers, and they don't. And there's a whole group of them, I'm sure, who have come to the same conclusion that I have. And that videos' popularity have nothing to do with, what the videos are, but with a simple, or a should be simple factor, called sympathy. And I'm not talking about feeling sorry for somebody just because, you don't understand them or something like that. I'm talking about sympathy in the sense that, you watch TV every night, I'm sure, out there. You see how a lot of these American Idol type of shows, or The Voice or whatever, are based in the idea that, it's often more feasible to the audience to hear somebody criticized and shot down than empathize with. Their talents aren't encouraged, but their flaws are pointed out. That points out to a lack of sympathy, and that's become very popular. And I'm going to give you a hypothetical scenario that goes very well with this. Nothing to do with YouTube videos or reality television or anything like that. Hypothetical scenario. Suppose you have two friends who know each other only online, who have never met in person. We live in the day and age of internet, and that can often happen. Suppose one of these friends lives on the North Shore of Massachusetts, just to give you an example. And the other friend lives in the San Francisco Barbary Coast region. As they get to talking and get to having experiences, they're going to realize that there are some differences in how things go for each of them. The person over on the side of Massachusetts, on the North Shore, around, say, this time of year in September, is going to be preparing perhaps their car, winterizing it for the winter weather. I'm sure you've done that. And they've also perhaps been spending the summer, in addition to having fun, which they do, setting up friendships perhaps for the coming winter, in which they might be inside a lot because of inclement weather. Now, the friend on the Barbary Coast, on the other hand, they might have a trouble with a family member or in a relationship, and it's an urgent one, but they feel they have all the time in the world to take care of that. Now, that might irk that person from the North Shore. Why? Well, the person on the North Shore might have difficulty comprehending that that person on the Barbary Coast might feel that they have more time in the world to understand what they're dealing with in their relationships than the person on the North Shore would, because, in the wintertime, you don't have time for that. When there's snow, when the temperature sometimes falls below zero, and sometimes the snow is so high you can't leave your house, it might be hard for the person from San Francisco to empathize with that. They've never seen snow, really. They've never seen temperatures below zero if they've lived out there all their lives. And if the person from the North Shore is in the same condition, have lived in that area all their lives, they might conceive of San Francisco as what you'd read about. The summer all year long kind of ethic. And that combination of the temperature, changing the cultural differences, and the fact that the internet is opening up a whole world where two people from disparate parts of the country can actually talk to each other without being a pen pal through the postal service, does tend to emphasize that lack of sympathy even more strongly. So, not to digress too much, my point of this video is that I don't think it's what you put on your blog or your YouTube video that makes a tremendous difference. I think it's people's tendency not to have as much sympathy in this present time as they probably should with each other. Even though there's a huge group of people from all over the world meeting on the internet for the past 10, 15 years, the fact of the matter is a lot of us are still stuck in the idea that everybody is kind of the same. They don't want to accept differences. They'd rather think we're all kind of the same. And even if you know that person on the Barbary Coast, for example, that I mentioned, that fictional person, might know that, they might still think in terms of old habits. And I think it applies on YouTube too. So now that we've got an open information superhighway, I think our minds need to open with it, and I just don't think it's there yet. So, I'm going to optimize this video and do all that thing that the other videos have mentioned, but I'm going to depend on people's interest too. Because if they're interested and they have a little sympathy in their minds, which is something that a lot of us don't start out with easily. In our terrible twos, we're not that sympathetic. We go through a me stage in our lives. We think we're entitled to everything. And I think it extends into adulthood too. It's something we learn. And it's not something we're always taught. We sometimes have to learn it on our own. So if you haven't been taught, learn it on your own. I'm just putting an idea out there. Maybe a few crazy ideas. But maybe if you think about it, they won't be so crazy. And that's just my point of view for the day. Talk to you next time.